Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Good afternoon or good morning, wherever this finds you. This is actually Becky Brown sitting in for Steve Arterburn, and I am joined by the great, wonderful Dr. Jill Hubbard and the amazing Dr. John Townsend. Hello, you guys.
Hey, Becky.
Hey, Becky.
I'm so excited to be
I
here
know,
with
this
you.
is, so fun to have you hosting today.
It is.
And that Steve trusted you at the helm. Becky, that says a lot.
I know. I feel like the first time I got my car keys from my parents.
Yep.
So we got a little bit of echo going on. I think.
Yeah, we sorry about that.
You got it taken care of. Great. Well,
We're all
so
thumbs.
one of the great privileges that we get to hear from John today. You've got this latest book coming out, or it is out, People Fuel, which I'm just amazed at how practical it is, how helpful it is. We always talk about people needing people in their lives, but how do you go about picking them? But I just want to congratulate you too, because you received the President's Award for Outstanding Influence in Leadership and Development and the Advancement of Christian Counseling around the world from the American Association of Christian Counselors. And I actually happened to be in the audience that night when you
in Nashville
were given that award. Yeah, it was so amazing. We're so proud, and because you're one of us, John, and just you're making a difference in so many people's lives.
Well, thank
and
you,
of
Becky.
course,
I told people, look, it might be a lifetime achievement award, but I'm not done with life yet, so
That's right.
Yeah, it's a little premature for lifetime, right?
Yeah, but just think of all the lives that you have saved through the work that you've done and that you're continuing to do through the Townshend Leadership Institute. And I was just amazed that you got the KCREP accreditation, and those letters may not mean a lot to a lot of people, but for those of us who are in the profession, it is a mark of distinction that the work that you're providing through the Leadership Institute, people are going to get quality education and make a difference.
Yeah,
so,
now our counselors can get licensed in any state, because once you get that very rigorous accreditation for our counseling institute, you can go wherever you live. You can go get a license now. So it was a big deal, and I'm really appreciative of our staff and our administration. Yeah,
it makes a big difference in the work that they put out too, as they're helping people. So I want to go back to People Fuel, and John, this book. You really have put together some practical ways for us to have a better life and to be able to serve others better too. It's not just personal or not just for our own benefit, but for the world's benefit. One of my favorite parts of the book is the 7 C's, and I would love for you to just talk about that this afternoon, this morning, and share with our listeners that great information.
Well, yeah, Becky, we know that what the Bible says about all this. We talk about it, here on the radio show all the time. You need people, and not only to do the vertical growth with God, but you got to have the horizontal growth with people. We kind of rant and rave and preach that all the time here at the show. But people also often say, I don't know how to pick the right people. Like my people picker's pooped.
Yeah.
And so the 7 C's was just a quick and easy way to kind of go, let's evaluate the people we're with. And so the top ranked relationships that give you the best fuel, the fuel being grace, are coaches and comrades and great colleagues and great casual relationships. Where it starts to be a drain are the bottom 3. Care relationships, you can have too many care relationships. Chronics, they're nice people, but no learning curve, they never get better. And then contaminants, which are bad people. Most of us are bottom heavy. I don't mean physically, we're bottom heavy. So we got to right size that thing.
Oh my goodness. And I know as you're listing those, we're all going, yep, got that.
Got that.
Yes, we might be bottom heavy. I would love for you to talk just a little bit more after the break about how we can move into having more of the top, the coaches, the comrades, those people that will help us live the best life that we can. And we're going to take calls, too, for the next couple of hours. So call us at 1-800-229-3000. We got great people to answer your questions today. So call us.
I feel blessed to have had this opportunity for my needs to be met, connecting with other women who are fighting the same fight, hoping for healthy marriages and growing closer to the Lord on their journey.
My name is Shelly Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography, it might be an emotional, physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
I feel encouraged and hopeful that even in my struggle, I am enough.
You will leave with hope, with a community of sisters ready to support you, and you will also leave with tools to move you forward on this journey.
Through the sharing in our small group, I realize that I am not alone.
Please don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I would love to see you there.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Washington, D.C. November 15th to the 17th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We're so excited that you are with us, and you're listening to Dr. John Townsend and Dr. Jill Hubbard and myself, Becky Brown, today, and we are going to take your calls. And but first, before we do that, John, I want you to touch back on the bottom
more, John,
of that list,
because we're all bottom heavy.
We're all bottom
Exactly.
heavy.
I knew I was a pear, but you know,
we're all psychic pairs. The reason that we are, I think, is because a lot of us are more comfortable giving than receiving. And so we collect people in our lives that sort of don't mind that. and yet Jesus said, well, freely you have received, go freely give. So you got to receive something before you give. You got to receive love and encouragement and wisdom and care and all that. So what I talk about in the book is, first thing you got to do is you got to build up that top, because you can't prune back the bottom till you build up the top.
Good insight.
Which means, number one is, we're your coaches. We need spiritual directors. We need therapists. We need people to encourage us. We need people who know something we don't know. So we're the experts in our life, because coaching is it'll pay 3 or 4 times what you ever pay for it, even if it might not cost anything. But then the second one is your comrades, and your comrades are what I call the life team, and those are your people in your life. I say to get 3 to 10 people. 3 to 10 is all you need, because you don't have that much time. And they know everything about you, and they still care about you, and they're committed to the values of what we believe, and they're committed to you. And the big thing, the big thing is that they're vulnerable, mutually vulnerable. So when you open up and say...
not just one-sided.
Not just, thank you, they're mutual. And so when you say, I got to talk about something I'm kind of embarrassed about, and I don't tell people, they go, yeah, and after you do, I will too. So you're safe. And you build up those people, and all of a sudden... what we're finding out, this is all like what the Bible and the neuroscience, the hard science backs up the Bible. You
Imagine that.
Yeah, isn't that strange? The author of both. You pick up things like creativity and focus and energy and positivity. Now, who doesn't need more creativity, focus, energy, and positivity? You get it from the quality of the people you're around. So that's how it works.
I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah.
And everybody needs to get a copy of this book. People Fuel, you can call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and get a copy, or go to newlife.com.
We got some really good information, by the way. When the day it was released on Amazon, it was something unusual. It was a double #1 on Amazon.
How can it be a double #1?
In 2 categories.
Because you're John Townsend, that's why.
It was #1 in Christian leadership, and it was #1 in Christian personal growth, because I put it together to be about anybody, but including leaders, but also just about people who want to grow. So we were really happy about that.
That's amazing. Well, now we're going to talk to Patrick. He's calling from KKLA. Thanks, Patrick, for joining us. What is your question today?
Yes, thank you for taking my call. I appreciate you guys and the ministry of New Life. It's been with me for practically 20 years, but I'm still dealing with wounds from not getting the love, nurture, and protection I needed as a child. And I was a latchkey kid, like majority of the time. Sorry, it's kind of hard saying this.
That's okay.
I was home alone a lot, and my parents divorced when I was 4, and I'm retracing my childhood. And my older siblings said that by the time I came along, my mom was always checked out on Valium, and I lived with my dad, and he was always running his tavern. I didn't bond with my parents. I had a lot of trauma from being jumped many times, once with brass knuckles, and I lead the same. I lead the same life I did as a child. I'm isolated. I'm home alone. I have 2 adult children, and I never bonded with them, and I really don't have a sense of family closeness, and I feel lost, disconnected, and I want to know what will heal this broken part of me, because I can't keep going on like this.
Well, you called the right show on the right day. John or Joe, what would you like to offer to Patrick?
Well, Patrick, I mean, we're all kind of like halfway in tears to hear about your situation.
So
I'm really,
sad.
really sorry. The kind of the first step is to know that there's a commonality, that so many people didn't get good stuff from the what's called the first family. You know, we call it in my book I call it the family of origin. Sometimes they let us down, and the overall answer is what I call the fog, the family of God. Jesus said, Patrick, who are my mother and my brothers and my sisters but those who do the will of God? And right then he made a distinction, Patrick, between the family of origin, the biological family or what have you, and then those people who love, give you the truth, support you, accept you. And ideally, that's found in the church. So the first step would be, is there a healthy church around you that would help you grow and feel safe and feel loved?
I always have a problem, like I'll drive around to a church and I'll stay there for a while and then I'll leave. You know, I mean, I'll be a part of the church, then I just leave, kind of like I'm afraid, I think.
Yeah, Patrick, one of the things that happens is that even when we get into a new group, like John is saying, so let's say you get into a healthy, loving group, you're still bringing the old scenario, the familiar patterns from your family of origin into this group. And so what happens a lot of times is we assume the same role as we did in our families of origin. And so that's the part that's on you to start to do differently, to recognize that you're falling into that more observer position, that you're not engaging. And that's where you have to make an intentional choice to do it differently. And if you don't know how, you need to ask someone. You know,
well, and I, to your point, Jill, is that him falling into the old role, it feels the same to him.
It feels the same, yeah.
And
he
like
gets
said,
the same
Patrick,
results.
Exactly, and so that's the normal. That
right,
becomes
and
the
we
more comfortable
project,
thing.
You know, onto these new people as if they were like our family of origin.
Yeah, you know, Patrick,
we recreate that play.
They're right about that, and one little prescription I tell people who are struggling like that, I'll tell them, okay, find a good church, and you're in an area where there are lots of good churches, and go to the pastor of care or the pastoral ministries person, the person who's sort of like into helping people grow, and you make this statement to him, and this works a lot, and say, I tend to get anxious after I've been in a church and get involved, and then I get scared and I go away. And so I need your help in knowing that, and can I be accountable to you that when I start to feel nervous, like I don't belong here, or I'm too messed up or whatever, or people won't like me, can I just call you or call your office and let you know that's starting to happen? Because you don't have power over what Jill and what Becky are talking about. Sometimes it's so quickly, but if you say, I want to tell you this ahead of time, I tend to kind of be like, what was that movie with Julia Roberts? I tend to be the runaway church person.
Runaway bride.
I'm the runaway church person. It's very, very common, Patrick. And just say, can I go to you when I'm really terrified, overwhelmed, think everybody hates me? Can I at least call somebody that knows it and help them kind of like rescue me back in? God's in the place of taking the brokenhearted and finding a home. But sometimes we need somebody to be helped to kind of throw the lasso out a bit.
I love that. Thank you so much. We're going to send you People Fuel, Patrick, and I think that'll make a huge difference. Like I said before, it's like the handbook that we all need as we try to make good connections, people that give us life so that then we can give it. It is so hard because we go back into the old routines always. We're going to go to Joseph. He's calling us from Boston, Massachusetts. and listens to us online. Joseph, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. How can we help you?
Well, I have a situation that we're dealing with, my wife and I. And we have a 15-year-old son. And he is, he's been acting out, 15. And lately he has been listening to friends and doing activities with friends where the major thing happened. He went to Walmart and the friend put something in his bag and he got caught. So we were called, so we had to go and sign him out. No charges were brought, but this thing is spiraling out of control. Just a little brief history. We adopted him when he was very young, and everything's been fine, but little anger problems, lashing out at people. I mean, calling people a name, you're stupid, you're dumb, and whatever. He's very oppositional. There's nothing that we can say to this kid that he doesn't have a response. He has an answer ready. I mean, he's like a lawyer. Whatever you bring him, you can't make any sense to him because he has a better answer than whatever you present to him and whatever thing's going on. So that's the problem my wife and I have.
What have you done up to this point, Joseph?
We've taken away things from him, such as, when he acts out, he has a cell phone, he has PS4, which is the worst thing I ever did by buying it from 2 years ago. He's really tuned into it. He's addicted, I should say, to it, where that's all he wants. He was a very, very functioning soccer player in school. He doesn't want to do that, doesn't do anything. So
it's really hard. Raising teenagers is hard no matter how they come into the family, but it sounds like you're having a really hard time with even reaching him at this point, that he's really kind of closed off from you. Well,
when you're trying to bring him something, are you done? And it's like he already know. I've heard this before.
So that's really disrespectful.
And Joseph, you said you adopted him from birth?
Very young.
No, at 2.
At 2 years old. Okay. Any drug use happening? Drug use or vaping
that we don't know. So I recently bought a test kit from online.
Okay.
So that if he does anything, because his friends, that's all they do, but he says he doesn't do anything. So 2 weeks ago, tested it out. The very first one. It did show positive. I don't know whether it's for marijuana or for vaping. So I told him I'm going to give him, because after 45 days it should clear out. Then we'll try it again and test it out. If that's the case, then we'll have to take stronger measures. So that's my question to you: what do I do to discipline him, but also to reach him so that he understands that this can lead to bigger and worse things for his life. He's only 15, but he thinks
he's at a critical age, and this is the age where it's hardest to reach them in a sense. I mean, the brain is doing the dopamine spike, so everything's about pleasure, and you're already saying that he tends to get addicted to things. So there's that tendency to move towards situations like that. I think you're on the right track in terms of, moving the boundaries in around him. He needs structure. He needs a firm but loving environment. So, if it was a mistake to give him what you gave him, then that is something that you can use as leverage. But then you want to increase the amount of time you spend with him, because his behavior is showing you that he needs more from you. And it's like, okay, how does a kid get freedom? They get freedom by being trustworthy, not by pushing against and stealing the freedom. So when they do that, that's a cry for help that says, we're not spending enough time together. I need to be with you more. And that is always puzzling to them. Go ahead.
Well, Joseph, before you go ahead, I want to. Can I go ahead and say exactly what Jill is talking about? The hard part is that if you're not connecting with him in any positive area, then
Right.
you become adversaries, so that he's always going to come at you from a defensive standpoint. So we got to work at the balance of those two things.
Yes. There needs to be times where you're just doing something enjoyable, or doing things where you're in motion, because kids and often boys do better. Like if you're walking beside them, they'll talk more, or you're sitting in the car, they'll talk more than just being face to face.
All right. Well, thank you, Joseph. And, it's hard to raise teenagers. I mean,
Yeah, Boundaries with
it
Teens
is
is
hard.
a
Yeah,
great book.
I wrote a book called Boundaries with Teens.
I've used that one.
Let's send you Boundaries with Teens. That would be a great way to do it. And, I think all of us need that encouragement to know that we're not the only ones when we're in those teenage years.
And you draw in people. You draw in friends' parents. You draw in the school if needed. You draw in all the
Right.
resources.
Well, heck, I was one of those kids.
Right?
I understand
Right?
this.
I know it. We'll be back in just a moment.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. You are just hitting the best show ever, because you've got Dr. Jill Hubbard and Dr. John Townsend. I'm so excited that you guys are
And
here
Becky,
with us today.
yay.
Oh, and me too. But
Yes. You're usually
I can't
behind the
say-
scenes, and
I am
now
usually
you're out
behind the
front.
scenes. And one of the things that I get to do, which I'm so privileged, is to work at our workshops. And this weekend we have Restore, Hope for a Woman's Heart, coming up, and there's still time to sign up. And this particular
Yes,
workshop,
go.
Shelley Martinkus is our speaker, and I can't encourage you enough. If you are a woman who has experienced betrayal in your relationship, this is the place for you. You're going to find practical tools as well as support, and you're just going to feel loved, and that's what we want for all of you. So give us a call at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and sign up today. We're going to go to the phones. We're going to talk to Garver. There we are. Hi, Garver. How are you?
Good, thank you.
You're welcome. What can we do for you today?
I think my wife is cheating on me, and
gosh,
I believe that because it's happened to me in the past by another woman that I was married to in the past, and maybe I'm the common denominator for that. I'm not sure, but if I am, I'm trying to figure that out right now as well. But
what makes you think that she's cheating on you?
Well, number one, I'm gone for a week at a time, but we haven't been married so long, and the things the things that bothered me before we were married, I spoke up about them so that they would be common knowledge, between us, and now those things are kind of like she's spiteful and very toward me, indifferent, a lot of animosity. I could tell anytime I say something, it's like that. Okay. And then
how long then have you seen this?
I've been noticing it for about a couple months, and I'm gone for a week at a time, on my job. And
when you ask her about Garver, when you ask her about this, what does she say? She just shuts down the conversation, or
she stonewalls me, and then it's like I can't get through. And because I'm gone for a week at a time, and she was telling me about some man that she, about somebody that she worked with, and I'm seeing these behaviors. For one, I'm seeing the stonewalling, and when I do wrong, I try to make it right. But with her, she doesn't bring it back. She don't bring it back.
So what do you think she resents? Garber? Yeah, what do you think she resents?
I think
what's been building up over time?
I think she's seen weakness in me. I think so, and I didn't always stay in my man frame as much as I should have.
What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
Well, the roles, and I believe in a man should be a man, a woman should be a woman, and
so you were
maybe
vulnerable.
She wants somebody more macho. Yes, I showed too much vulnerability, I think, which ended up being a turnoff. Yes.
Oh, okay, but you guys are married, and how long have you been married?
Not even 6 months. Yeah. And now she's expecting. So, I don't know if it's hormonal, but I don't think it is. It is partially hormonal, and I think it's also because I think she's cheating and she's using little things to create even more distance between us, so she can have free run, wild.
I don't. So here's the thing, Garber. You talked about you're gone for a week at a time, and then you also have this in your history. And I'm thinking that that's a kind of a lethal combination for a new marriage. And I wonder, what have you guys done in order to create some connection? I know that this is at a stalemate now. However, when people, because a lot of people live lives where people travel a lot, but there's an intention of reconnection when they've been gone. So I'm wondering, have you guys had any help at all, like either counseling or, just to make some room for reconnection with you being gone so much?
Yeah, that's what I just mentioned the last time I talked to her. She had a child previous to the one that she's conceived by me. I think this child that she has, he's about 13 years old, and when we talk on the phone, she talks to him in front of me, and I tell her to go to the side because I don't like having an adult conversation in front of kids. So, but because of that, she and I said, I'm going to get off right now. And she said, are you serious? And she hangs up on me. And I haven't talked to her since. I sent her a couple texts, and that was like I was on Friday. And
I think
been going out of town and stuff,
It's going to take some pretty intense work to reconnect in a healthy way on so many levels. There's so many things that are kind of disrupted in your connection with her. And I don't know that there's a simple answer, but I do know that it's going to take a lot of work, right? And I think you're up for it, but it's hard when things are so complicated. And we're going to take one step towards the middle. We'll be right back, and maybe, John, you can have a chance to share with him about maybe some hope for the future.
She said, we need to talk. She's asked me for the first time if I would consider myself a sex addict. You know, I thought it was just about admitting the things that I had done wrong. I never had a clue that it was about redeeming our story. You know, I thought it was just about coming clean on what I had done. I had no idea how to help her with her pain. She was a mess, I was a mess, and we got divorced. Going to EMB, surrounding myself with these other men, they accepted me for who I was and what I had done, but they challenged me to step up and do better. You know, they'll be around other men who are not just pointing the finger, but willing to get in and wade through it with them, you know, get in the trenches. They'll get hope from this workshop. Take my sweet wife and my story. We were divorced, remarried, and on our way to what I think will be the sweetest years of our lives. You know, it's no longer simply about surviving. For the first time ever, you know, we're thriving, we're enjoying where we're at.
Hey, listen, if you're struggling, we want to see you at the workshop. Give us a call, 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening, I got relief.
You can help New Life Live stay in the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you a set of 4 devotionals, 100 Days of Character, Peace, Prayer, and the newly released 100 Days of Healing. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops.
I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's been immensely helpful to me. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. You're here with Becky Brown and John Townsend and Jill Hubbard, and John's going to give Garver some direction. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, Garver, first off, you know, you were really vulnerable with us, and you you admitted some wrong, and that's always good. But I wanted to make you aware of. I want you to get your focus off of whether she's having an affair or not, because that'll drive you crazy. Maybe she is, but we don't know. What you need to go into before you go into whether she's unfaithful or not, before, is that you're disconnected. You guys can't even have a conversation. You feel disrespect, and you don't even know how to act around her, and you're not there very much. So disconnection is your goal now to get rid of. And so my hunch is, given the narrative I heard, you're going to need a counselor ASAP, or come to one of our workshops, and maybe we can help there. But it's more than just finding a good thing to say to your wife. Again, I think you guys, unfortunately, are in trouble, and it's going to need, I think Jill used the word intensive, and it was the right word. So we want to help you get a counselor, a pastor counselor, a therapist, an intensive weekend, and I'm going to send you a copy of People Fuel and get started on that.
Thank you so much. And you know, what's so amazing is that he could call us, and we're here for so many people to help, and we can only do that by the generosity of our listeners and our supporters. And I just want to encourage you, if you haven't been able to give, maybe today's the day that you give us a call at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and provide a way for people to find help. We appreciate our Club New Life family so much. Club New Life is our monthly giving partners that they give as minimum of $30 a month, or some are even giving more, and they just make a difference in the lives of so many people through their giving. And when you sign up to support through Club New Life right now, we're going to send you a set of our 4 devotionals by Steve Arterburn. There's 100 Days of Character, 100 Days of Peace, 100 Days of Prayer, and the newly released 100 Days of Healing. And they're beautiful, leather-like bound devotionals. And, around the holidays, you could maybe split them up and give them away as gifts too, if you would like to do that. But also, for a gift of any amount, we'll say thanks and by giving you our New Life 2020 calendar. Can you believe it's going to be 2020? And just, oh my word, it's coming so fast.
Choking me up.
I know, me too. I can't even hardly talk.
I know.
But I just want to say thank you to those who do give, but I want to encourage those of you who have not given yet, please make a donation to New Life. You are going to make a difference in the lives of so many people.
You know, Becky, I know so many friends, myself included, that we give regularly and to New Club New Life, and I've been doing this a long time. I did not have one person that's ever said, it's like it's not worth it. They all go, oh my gosh, I read a testimony or heard something on the radio, and it brought tears to my eyes, because this isn't just like giving people like better lives. I mean, the word is new life. I mean, these are people who would just not be functioning, or their lives would be a train wreck. So everybody that gets on board feels really like, okay, I'm part of the team. It's a wonderful thing.
That's it. Preach it, John. Speaking of John, we're going to go to John in Cincinnati, Ohio. And he has a question for us. He listens on Sirius XM. John, how are you today?
Good. Thanks for taking my call.
Great. What's your question?
I'd like to know how someone knows that they're ready to have children. My wife and I have been married a few years. She's really ready to start having kids, and I'm not sure if I'm ready. Is there a way to know that or not?
Well, it's nice that you have the option to make the decision. I mean, sometimes that just happens. John or Jill? I mean, right? those babies are everywhere, but it's great that you guys are thinking about this. John or Jill, what would you offer to John?
Well, I'm just curious, what makes you think that you're not ready? I mean, you've been married 3 years. So
that's the right question.
What's the hesitation about?
She just lobbed the tennis ball back on your side, John.
Thanks. Well, I don't know. I'm not against it. I just, I guess I would like to wait
for
longer.
How old are you, John?
28.
Okay. Okay, you want to wait longer for what to happen?
Well, I just like to enjoy some more years with her without the added responsibility and the work involved with having children. Whether that's traveling or whatever. We both, we live Christian lives and remain pure before marriage, and worked hard, double jobs through college, that kind of thing. So now we're at a point where we can really kind of enjoy life, and I'd just like to continue to do that for a few more years.
Yeah, you like the autonomy, and autonomy is a good thing.
Mm-hmm. So
correct.
So why not a compromise?
What would that look like?
Yeah, what would that look like? She wants them now. You want to wait. What about dividing the time?
Okay. Is that okay?
I mean, it's something to talk about, because you're in a position, like Becky said, it didn't just happen to you. So you're doing your family planning. What do we want the next 5 years to look like?
Well, and it's important to hear her side of the story too. I mean, John, it's really going to be powerful for you to hear what her desire is and work towards the middle, like what Jill's talking about. Because, it can feel like to her that it's like an eternity, like someday we're going to have kids. And then what begins to happen is a wall begins to build between the two of you, as opposed to having a conversation and some planning,
Right.
Yeah, let me screw this up a little bit.
Oh, good.
Okay, are we making it too simple?
No, not too simple, but I worry about the child here.
Right.
Good to think of the child.
Yeah, because I'm not sure a child who's born to somebody who says, okay, it's a 5-year plan, and we went 2.5, and so the mom is over ready, and she's happy, but the guy is, I'm only half ready for you. I'm not sure the child that will be born into a world where the dad says, I kind of wasn't ready for you, I was halfway ready for you, would be a really welcome event. So I tend to move toward the veto rule in these kind of questions, which is, if you're both not on board, don't do it.
Okay,
for the sake of the child.
But part of it is, most couples, one person is more ready than the other.
But the operative word is ready.
Yeah.
See, there's ready and really ready.
Okay.
But the not ready, I think, has the veto rule.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so if a guy says, or the gal says forever, I just don't want kids, I'm not ready, I wouldn't say, well, okay, then split it in half. You want to wait this far, because I just feel like both people, because it's such a responsibility. I like the ready.
It is.
I like the ready and really ready. What I don't like is that I'm not ready. I think that person. So, so I did have a formula, because we're playing with formulas here, John.
Right.
By the way, we're really enjoying talking about you.
Yeah.
The formula I like is when the desire is greater than the need for all the autonomy. Because it is a cost, and you got to stay pure, and you got, maybe you can travel or do service or whatever you can do. But when you come to that, you have to keep talking about it. I think Becky and Jill are very much right about it. You have to keep processing.
Yeah.
But at some point, with really healthy couples, they both go, I love the autonomy, but right now my desire to procreate and bring God's next, gem into the world is greater than my need for X amount of autonomy, and I can give up a percentage of my autonomy, and I'll feel good about it. That ratio between desire and autonomy, that's to me.
Okay, because I don't hear that John isn't wanting to have kids at all.
No, I'm not either.
Not now, right?
It's a not now. That's what I hear.
So that would be something also, John, that you could perhaps commit to your wife, that you will be praying about, kind of that willingness to be willing.
And let's just talk a lot.
Let's just talk about it.
Hey, we went to Cincinnati. Oh, we went to Zimbabwe. Oh, we had a great trip to Kilimanjaro.
And the wife is saying, and my best friend Susie just had a baby.
Yeah, and
Mary
so we're
just
both
had a baby.
having dinner talking about that. And I think sooner or later, people either go, yeah, we're both on the same page, but I just think the veto person wins for the child's sake.
What a great point, John. I mean, you're so smart.
That's why we have him here.
You don't get out much, Becky.
but I'm thinking about that child.
Yeah.
And, and just going back to what I said before about at least you have the choice, that's one of the most powerful things. And we heard that from one of our callers earlier today about growing up in a home that was disconnected and
or
the
where
child
there's
wasn't
resentment
valued.
from the beginning.
Yeah,
right.
One thing I always worry about with couples work is when somebody says, well, the goal is for somebody to change their feelings. Like, well, I want you to love this. Well, I don't love Brussels sprouts. Well, I want you to in my marriage. Or I want you to love having 6 kids. Well, I'm not crazy about that.
Right.
Or telling people to hang on and change their feelings without going through the process of conversations and prayer.
No, you have to do that.
You have to do that.
Yeah, and then the whole thing with the 9 months, that's a preparation time too.
Boy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very much.
Man.
Is.
So, John, thanks for the question. Caused a lot of stimulating discussion.
This was a good one. I don't think we've had this before, John.
Yes.
Well, and I think for anybody who's planning their life out, whether it's for a child or not, we can help you. So you can give us a call at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
What a great, that was a great lateral move. I'm impressed,
I
Becky.
have been trained well. I love New Life.
We call that the Becky pivot. She just pivoted.
Yeah, so give us a call and we can help you, and we can provide all kinds of great resources.
Child care,
to
we'll do it all for you.
No, we're not doing that.
My wife had found me out and came home one weekend. She had revealed my secret. The only reason I was sorry at that time is because I had been caught. I had had the Every Man's Battle book for years and pulled that book out that weekend and found the phone number on the back and called it. And then a week later, I was at Every Man's Battle. It really gave me the start I needed for my recovery. I never had that opportunity to sit down with guys I didn't even know and totally open up. The good thing was I was opening up to guys I didn't even know. So why did I care? Just lay it all out on the table. I have nothing to lose. You need to check it out. At least go online, check out what it's about, and take the chance and go do it.
If you're struggling, call us. There are people on the other end of the line who want to hear from you, who want to help you. We don't want you to go on struggling, but you got to take that first step. Just give us a call. It's 1-800-639-5433. It's 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again.
You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. What an exciting day we've had today, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
With John and Jill and myself, Becky Brown, here on New Life Live. And we are so excited to talk to Justin from San Antonio, Texas. He listens on the podcast, and you can listen there too if you want. We have a free app that you can get in your app store, whatever device you have, and you can listen to New Life. And we also have free articles as well as tip sheets there. It's just a great resource. But enough about the app. Justin, how can we help you today?
Hey, how's it going? I've got a question for you. So just real quick, I had used pornography compulsively off and on throughout a 14-year marriage. And about year 14, I was outed about my pornography use to my wife by my counselor. So essentially the counselor outed me to my wife. And ever since then, I've been trying to regain my wife's trust. She suffers from betrayal trauma. And really the big thing, I'm really stuck right now because my wife, in an effort to rebuild trust, what she wants to know the integrity of my private thought life. So she'll ask me questions like, did you find anyone who was attractive? Were you tempted? Did you lust? And quite frankly, I really don't have a clear understanding of the differentiations between what is temptation, what is lust. I mean, I noticed that this person was attractive, but, that was it. Or maybe I saw an image and I felt like a visceral pull inside my flesh to, look a second time, but I didn't. Was that temptation? And these issues, for me to rebuild trust with my wife, I have to be able to speak clearly and not sow additional confusion. And unfortunately, I haven't been successful in doing that. And I'm stuck. I'm calling for help in this area.
Well, you called the right place, Justin, and I'm just wondering, what have you done to this?
Oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead, Jill.
I just wanted to add a kind of a quick comment before we get into it more, Justin. So you said, okay, what is temptation? So temptation is something that comes from the outside that catches your attention, okay? The lust is the lingering on it, the indulging of that temptation,
Which
that
comes from
biting
inside.
the bait, which comes from inside, yes. So in terms of you asking about the difference there. So just like we can have a feeling, something can, come upon us, but then we make a choice in what we're going to do next with it. So we can't
Yeah,
always...
the restaurant last night, they put out a big old piece of brownie and ice cream. That was my temptation.
Yes, yes.
And then
you
then
have
I
the
lusted.
choice, whether
Yeah.
then you lusted,
Yeah.
you lingered on it.
Yeah, I'm confessing.
Well, my question to you, Justin, was you had mentioned that your wife had gone to the counselor. Have you done any work as far as dealing with the pornography addiction?
I have. I've been 2 years clean at this point.
Way to go, man.
Yay.
I did click on I was scrolling through podcasts, ironically, about sexual integrity, and I came across an inappropriate image. Probably you could equate it to something you'd see on Victoria's Secret. And I clicked on the image, and then I immediately backed out because I knew I was wrong. I repented.
Well, Justin,
just
actually, Becky asked you a different question. She asked you about the work you've done. You said you've been clean and sober 2 years. That's great, but that's the result of work. So what actual work have you done? What we mean by work is spiritual counseling, emotional counseling, psychotherapy, 12-step intensives. That's the kind of work we're asking about?
So
I've sought individual counseling. I've gone to Celebrate Recovery.
Great.
I'm working through a workbook, Facing the Shadows.
Okay.
And my wife and I went to an emergency marriage seminar recently.
Okay, so you guys are involved. I kind of would like to know, and we don't have time to go into it. No, I don't think you might not know where she got the prescription to ask you on some ongoing basis about your inner private life. Do you know if the counselor said that's part of the healing? Because I have questions about that. Or is that just coming from her anxiety and fear? Is it coming from the therapist, or is it coming from your wife's just being afraid?
So I think it's probably both. So we read the book Worthy of Her Trust.
Right.
Good.
And in that book, the author had mentioned specifically, if your wife wants information and you don't give her that information,
okay,
then essentially you are not helping her heal.
All right, let me give you a prescription, and I'll include that. But what tends to help this is, number one, you've got to be a really better husband. Okay? That means attention, focus, listening, making her important, because these are not sexual issues. These are sexualized issues. And so it's not about sex, even though that's the trigger. It's sexualized. And so I'm talking about being the listening, caring, I get you, finding out what her love language is. It's all that. That's number one. And lots of it for a long time. Number two.
Forever.
True forever. Number two is just accountability. Like check my cell phone anytime, check my laptop, blah, blah, blah. Here's all the passwords. You have no right to passwords for a long time. Okay. But number three, and you have to set this up in a conversation with her, is when she says, I'm going to ask you about your private life. And if the counselor in the book and everybody says that, you've got to be able to say the following: I need to know what's a good answer because I get overwhelmed. Suppose I say, yeah, the waitress was attractive. Well, are you going to say I'm unfaithful right now? So you got to have a really good conversation. I wouldn't have that conversation without the counselor to say, what are the ground rules? What's an okay answer to Sally? So when she says, that waitress, okay, she was really cute. What did you think about her? What's an okay answer? If you could say, yeah, I had a weak moment and I lusted after. Well, that's okay. That's what you do, and you say that, right? But if you didn't, and you just kind of notice, yes, she's attractive, but I love my wife. What's the right answer so you don't get overwhelmed with a deer in the headlights? You need a language and a vocabulary of an answer in that shows that you don't have that lust or that you do. Because otherwise, the guy swims around, tries to do the wrong thing, never does it right, and then it's awful.
Well, what about addressing her anxiety first? What about leaning into
there
her
and
saying,
that's a really
sweetheart, are you feeling really anxious right now?
Right now.
Why
at
is
the restaurant,
this coming up?
That's a really good answer.
How can I be supportive of you?
Yeah.
I'm willing to tell you anything, but how can I be supportive? I want to be connected
that to the
you.
mix. I love that.
Well, and you had mentioned too, Justin, that you guys had gone to like an emergency marriage kind of seminar. And what I think happens so many times in wounded relationships is the relationship becomes all about the wound.
Yeah.
So then there's not another way that we're connecting to kind of balance out. So if she is feeling anxious, and then when you have these conversations, it just ends up separating you further. And of course, I would say, maybe you need to do a little bit more work. I would encourage you to go to Every Man's Battle. We're going to be in Denver the first weekend of December. And, not because you're all bad and she's all good, but there's a lot of wounding that's happened. And you had mentioned that this has been going on a long time. This isn't just, a recent battle. You've been clean and, for 2 years, but
the 14-year addiction.
It was a lot longer. And like you said, Jill, there's just always work for all of us to do. And we want you guys to have a connected marriage, not one that's just structured around, what offenses may have happened, and that she will have a connection with you that feels safe and that honors your life together.
But if I average out the calls we get about this, you're ahead of the pack in terms of the seriousness that you took this. You love her, you're doing the work, you're reading the books, you're going to this thing. So keep up the good work, but you're doing really well.
Yeah, and thanks so much for everybody calling today. And if you're on the line, hold on, because we got another hour. And if you haven't called yet, call us at 1-800-229-3000.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.